Economies. Let's cross back to Professor Scott Lucas, Professor of US and International Politics. Scott, we spoke to you a little bit earlier. Now that we've heard what the detail is from Donald Trump, what do you make of all of that?
Before talking about the effects, and they're bad, let me just say that I think that was the dumbest, most economically illiterate speech I have heard in my life, and I've heard a lot of bad ones. It was filled with lies and distortions, and I need to back that up. For example, the idea that the European Union has a 39% tariff rate on the United States. The weighted average of EU tariffs on the US is 1%. Japan, which supposedly, according to Trump, had a 46% tariff rate, the weighted average of tariffs on US products is 3.2%. Marcus Peterson, who was excellent, highlighted the fact that other countries which actually have high tariff rates, like Turkey, all of a sudden get favored treatment from Trump, at least relatively favored, by paying only 10%. What you had was someone who is the president of the United States speaking almost absolute nonsense. And the biggest nonsense of all was the idea that tariffs can replace income taxes and that they will lead to economic growth. They won't. Now, how bad is this? You have varying rates across the board. You have 20% on the EU. You have 34% on China, even higher on some countries. Lowest rates are still only going to be, are still at least 10%. The Aston Business School modeled this, and earlier this week came out and said, in the event of a 20 to 25% US tariff, and we're roughly talking about that across the board, if the EU and other countries retaliate, the loss to the global economy will be 1.4 trillion. That is trillion with a T, dollars to the global economy. The tax burden, effective tax burden on the US taxpayers will be $6 trillion with a T. This is one of the most, in addition to being economically illiterate speeches, it is accompanied by one of the most economically damaging actions that have been taken since the last round of high tariffs, which was in the 1930s, which helped lead to the Great Depression.